Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung, a pro wrestling podcast, guys. Tonight I have on a great guest, a man who's a friend of mine. He is a towering force in the ring, a throwback powerhouse with a modern edge and one of the most intimidating presence in professional wrestling today. You've seen him dominate opponents with raw strength, relentless aggression, and that unmistakable American grit. I am talking about my buddy, the American Giant. What's going on, man?
How you doing, my brother?
Good, man. If I could just get the words out.
I know, bro. Sometimes getting tongue-tied is like, no.
Yeah, so how are you doing now? You've been on the show before, but you and I are friends. I know you just started a new job, and it's very interesting what you're going to be doing. Of course, fans, don't worry. The American Giant is still going to be American gianting in the ring and doing what he does best, but he is also going to step inside of a facility where, well, let's just say if people get out of line, they're going to have a lot to deal with. Tell the fans what else you're doing now, man.
Brother, I just got hired on as a correctional officer here in the state of Kentucky. And, this is my first week's training. And it's going pretty well so far. And it's different. I'll put it that way. You think the big boss man had it tough. I'll tell you what, he's right about one thing. It's definitely different inside the prison or the jail. But, yeah, that's what I'm doing now other than stepping in the ring as well.
Right. Look. I've worked in law enforcement, including working in the jails. And I got to tell you that back in my day, when I worked in law enforcement, when I was working in the jails, I wish when I needed backup, I looked over my shoulder and I seen you as my backup.
That's right.
Yep. But you know what this is, my wife and I were actually talking about this. When you first told me that you were getting into corrections, we had got off the phone and I told my wife, I said, yeah, I just talked to Buck. And I said, man, he's getting into corrections. She's like, oh, wow. She's like, she's like, there's going to be a lot of guys there that's going to be really intimidated by him. He shouldn't have any problems. I said, you know what? I don't think it's his size that is going to be the thing to make him someone that is doing this job exceptionally well. I think it's going to be the fact that you're a very kind man. You're a very intelligent man, and you're someone who's very calming. You're rational, right?
Right. And
let me tell you, that goes a long way in that type of a job, more so than even physical. The physical threat of someone your size. So I think that you're going to do very, very well in this because of how kind you are, because of the fact that you know how to talk to people. Let me ask you this question, though. How do you think professional wrestling prepared you for a job like this? Or do you think, no, there's nothing really in professional wrestling that, did anything to help me in this type of a job?
Well, professional wrestling, I'm going to answer the way it kind of helped me along the way, but it did not help me in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you an example. While I was back home growing up, when I first got cut from the basketball squad, which everybody knows the story on that, a good friend of mine, a long-time friend of mine, used to play professional football. And he played for the Syracuse University. He played for the Dallas Cowboys. And he played for the New York Giants as well. Now, this is way back in the early 80s. I don't know if you heard him or not. They call him the Iron Man, Bill Pendock.
Yep. I've heard the name.
Bill, a very good long friend of mine. And he taught me a lot of things. And he found out I was cut from the basketball. And he started bringing me to the weight room. At first, I didn't want to do it. And we used to wrestle all the time, get exercises in, stay on the mat, stay in great condition. He looked at me, he goes, Buck, if I'm going to be honest with you, if you want to make it to professional wrestling someday, bust your ass and you'll be just fine. That's exactly what he told me. And ever since then, I went to college. I graduated from high school, went to college, started going to the gym. And along the way, I met the boys along the way back in New York. And that's how it all started. Now, today, professional wrestling has definitely given me a lot of training to be prepared into the corrections facility. You never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen at any given time. But the thing about it is, I'm not there just to take people down. I'm there to lead by example, help them, make sure they stay out of trouble, rather. Because if you don't do that, then what good is it going to do?
Right. And that's why I was saying that, because of your mindset, because of how calming you really are, you have that sense of calm about you, and you're someone that you empathize with people, and because of the intelligence that you carry, I've always told young guys who's getting law enforcement, said, look, if you're getting into law enforcement because you want to invoke fear into people's lives or beat people up, say you're not the person for the job.
That's right, exactly right.
Your job is very much more so about being able to talk to people, right?
Correct. Right.
I can tell you that in the years that I worked in that field, I can count on one hand how many times I actually had to put hands on somebody, and it's because I was good at talking to people. And your first line of defense, your first major line of defense, is being able to talk people down, right?
Right.
Talk them down. And I think you're going to be good at that. Yeah, your size obviously is going to help if it needs to be physical. But again, as I said at the beginning, it's going to be more of that mindset of being able to talk to people and treat them like humans. Whenever I used to train rookies when I worked in the jail, the first thing I told them was this: you have to remember, you're not judge, you're not jury, you're not executioner.
Right.
The person that is working in the facility to, yes, protect the public, to make sure that these people stay in there, but it's also to treat these people like people. You're not there to punish them. Their punishment is being where they're at. So I think you'd be really good at doing that, being able to talk to them. I really do. Now, something else man, you're a busy guy. You really are, because something else that's happening is there's the announcement, which I was so excited to hear about, FanFest 4 coming pretty soon. By the way, right before we went live, Mr. Herb contacted me and wanted me to make sure I said hello. What a great guy he is. But you were asked to be back at FanFest 4. You were there last year. That's how you and I actually originally met. And, you and I kind of clicked right away. You're one of my favorite people that I met. It formed a friendship. And that's a testament to you of how good of a person you are. But talk to us about FanFest 4. Tell me what you're most excited about as well.
I was mostly excited when I was asked by Herb Simmons to come back to FS 4 through the local promotion, RCW, out of Illinois. I accepted it right away. Herb Simmons is a great guy, great promoter, and it's like, yes, I definitely would love to come back and be a part of it again. I'm excited about meeting new fans in the Illinois area, and and for those of you in the Illinois area, I've been around this business a long time, 33 years plus. And, nowadays, the people may know who I am. There's a lot of people who may not know. That's fine. This is what FanFest 4 is all about. And fans in the state of Illinois, I'm looking forward to be a part of it. You got great guests coming in. You got great talent coming in. You got John Bradshaw Layfield. You got Mickey James coming in. Our good friend Patricia Summerlin from the California girl from Glows come back. They even got Fidel Sierra, the Cuban assassin, coming in. I'll tell you one thing, guys, you're not missing a darn thing. And it's a good way to learn about their experiences, share stories. And I'm looking forward to it. And mainly, if you communicate with the fans, that's what's important right there. And And the Fan Fest is also having the Bruiser Brody Battle Royal. This is what I'm really excited about because number one, you never know if the 7'3" giant is going to step into that ring that night in that battle royal. If I was asked to do that, believe me, I'd be more than ready to go at any given time. But it's the love of the fans that I got. It's the love of the fans that the talent's got who is coming in. And here's a special message for Teddy Long. Teddy, it's going to be a great seeing you again and give me a holla, holla, holla. And these guys are great guys. I'm looking forward to it in a big way. Now,
yeah, I am looking forward to seeing Teddy and Mac again. Those guys were great. And, the great thing about FanFest 4 is, it's such an intimate gathering that you're really able to talk to people. I mean, my God, again, last year, you and I became friends with you. I, befriended Mac and was able to talk to Teddy and talking about Patricia from Glow, Darla Staggs, who I love dearly. Barbara Goodish, one of my favorite people that I got to meet last year. Again, we're friends because that's, if you're a good person, these people are going to accept you in. And that's what's great about FanFest 4 is, it's really all about making friends and being able to meet your heroes in an atmosphere that's so relaxed. Mr. Harper does a great job. Now, last time you were here, you talked about your wrestling career. Mm-hmm. I want to revisit that a little bit for the fans who may not have caught my podcast. My podcast has grown a little bit since then. Talk to me about your run in WCW and that one big famous match of yours.
Well, for those of you, like Kevin said, for those of you who do not know the history of that, I went to the Bayfront Center. I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida at the time. I was asked by a couple of people to tag up with the late, great Pistol Pez Wally to wrestle the NWO, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders, for the WCW World Tag Team titles. And I accepted it. And the booker at the time, the road agent at the time, who happened to be the late, great Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, told me that if you're in great shape, yes, let's get you tagged up with Pez Wilding. He says, snap his finger, and I remember as it happened this day. Go get your gear. You're going to wrestle on Monday Night Nitro here in an hour and a half. Got my gear ready to go. Even though I got beat up by Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, here's the thing that's most important to me. Getting the experience is what's most important to me. You never know what can happen in professional wrestling, especially nowadays. People can mock you. People can do this to you, say bad things about you. I don't focus on that. I focus what God's given me to do, and you never know what he has planned. It's that simple. You can be a great asset on the independent. You can be a great asset with SICW, whatever the case is. I'm there to represent professional wrestling as the promoter sees it. That simple.
Now, Buck, talk to me about Pistol Pez Wally. Mm-hmm. What was your relationship like with him? Did you know him very well outside of the ring?
Not real well, no. I met him through... who was it? I think I met him through the Nasty Boys at that point. And as you know, I'm good friends with Brian Knobs and Jerry Sachs. I met a lot of the boys through them, especially Pez Wally. Pez Wally was a great, great humorous guy. He loved to rib people, and he was a great class act. Great guy.
Right. Now, speaking of your buddies, Brian Eggs and Jerry Sachs, man, how is Knobs doing? I know he's been having a lot of medical issues. Do you have any updates? Exactly, how he's doing?
Brian's in good spirits. He's hanging in there. He's doing the best he can. So he has his good days. He has his tough days, which I'm sure he does. But I think Brian's doing much better than he has been doing. I haven't talked to him in the last couple of weeks, but excuse me. Yeah, I need to reach out to him sometime, but continue to keep Brian in your prayers, and him and his wife in your prayers, and on their health issues. He's a great guy, and he continually needs our prayer. And if anybody can continue to help him out financially, I believe he still has his GoFundMe page. I'm not sure about that, but check on the website and see what he can do for him. Brian Niles is a great guy, and
now we talked about you and Pistol Pants Wally going against Nash and Hall, Scott Hall. Did you have any type of relationship with either Kevin Nash or Scott Hall, especially Scott Hall, outside of the ring at all?
I started to form a friendship with Scott Hall and Kevin, acquaintances behind the scenes. I never really got a chance to become good friends with them on the outside because they have their own thing they do, which is fine. But I did have a great business acquaintance with them inside the locker room. Great guys. Again, they love to rip people from now and then. All I can say is much love and respect for those two as well.
Yeah. Now, we lost Scott a few years ago, man.
Right.
And Scott's, he's not the only one that we've lost in the past couple of years. We've lost a lot of guys, especially people like Hulk Hogan. We just lost Beastmaster. Talk to me about how those losses affect you as somebody who is a professional wrestler, as somebody that understands, what you all put your body through. How does these losses affect you?
It affects me great dearly. With a lot of health issues, especially Hogan. I never thought, and I didn't even know Hulk Hogan had cardiac issues as well. I haven't talked to Hogan in the last 2.5, 3 years when I was living in Tampa Bay. Last time I saw him was at Hogan's Hangout. He looked fine to me. You know how people get older.
Right. Yep.
But when I found out the morning that Hulk died, I'm like, what? Are you serious? And I looked it up myself. Like, Knobs told me the same thing. He was devastated. And
Right.
It devastated me. He's always nice to me behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's not only Hogan. It's like you lost another great one, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Right.
When I heard the circumstances about that, I'm like, Lord Almighty. I don't know whether some of these guys made bad choices or what, but man, there's, it's nuts, but it affects you very much so because you started to develop friendships with these guys, becoming brothers and family in the business, and before you know it, they're passed away.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, anytime I hear about these things going on, whether it's by suicidal or drug-related issues like that, it breaks my heart, man. Because there's no, it's just one of those things that they made choices, unfortunately. But in the meantime, you just got to continue to pray for their families because you never know what they're going through day by day.
Right. Yeah. That's true. So many people who are wrestling fans look at professional wrestlers as these larger than life characters on TV, and I don't think it resonates to a lot of fans that these guys are more the characters. They're actually human, and
Right.
just like every human being, good days, bad days, go through different emotions. And yeah, I mean, we as fans, I think as a fan, one thing that I've realized over the years is when you meet a professional wrestler, man, you treat these men and women like human because that's what they are. They're human beings, and you never know, as you said, what they're dealing with at that particular point in time.
Well, Brian Blair said it best. You got to live your day as if it's your last. Because,
Right.
brother, you never know when God's going to call you home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know.
Yep. That's true.
Live the best life you can live, and do the best thing you do good in life, make right choices. We all have difficult times in life. There's no question. But the thing about it is you got to stay focused upon God himself.
Right.
Don't let the negative influence affect you.
Right.
And if you do, call me up. I'll be praying for your heart on these issues. I'm a prayer warrior on the outside of the ring.
Mhm.
Just, I don't know if people know that about me or not, but I'm a prayer warrior. I go to church as soon as I can. But if I hear somebody in the business having a tough time, let me know. I'll put them on my prayer list. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Well, like I said in the beginning, man, you're such a good guy. I'll talk about your career for a moment. Talk to me about what is the moment that makes you the proudest to this day that involves your wrestling career.
Where I can go out and do my best inside the square circle. Whether wrestling one of the top talents or local talents or whatever case is, just going out there to do the best I can and lead by example.
Right.
Because if I don't lead by example, I don't feel good about myself. Because I want kids to learn here that you can do anything you want to do and have a great life without getting into trouble, so to speak. And I'll re-emphasize one question that was asked me in the past. Why do they call me the 7'3" American Giant? I'm going to give you an answer to that. 1, I'm 7'3". 2, I'm an American. 3, I'm a giant in heart, not giant in size. Even though I'm 7'3", there's only one big giant in professional wrestling in the history. I call him the boss. Anybody calls him the boss. And that's the late Andre, the Giant.
Yeah, man. How much do you wish you could go back in time during Andre the Giant's heyday when he was at his best and be able to get into the ring with him?
Oh, I think about that all the time. Whether it's Andre, John Studd, Blackjack Mulligan, even Hogan. If I was asked to wrestle any of those guys, I would.
Right.
Just go out there and do the best you can, wrestle hard. It's just that simple.
Right. Now, you're someone that, and this isn't just because I read stuff. I mean, again, I know you personally. You're a man of conviction. You're a man that, I personally know that when you say lead by example, that's not just some fluff coming out your mouth. Fans, I can attest to somebody that is friends with Buck that he truly 100% means that. Where does that come from, man? Is that something that was instilled to you as a child? Is that something that has just resonated with you as an adult?
It started with me when I was. Let me try to explain this as best I can. When I was younger, I used to be different back then. I used to be mean just like everybody else. And one time when I relocated to Tampa, Florida, I went to a church, and a friend of mine invited me to go to church. I went to church, and there was a time where I had an incident. Right then and there, God struck me down in my heart and in my spirit. We're going to change you. Follow me in my word, which means the Holy Bible. And Kevin, I'm going to be honest with you. It's by the leading of His holy, precious Son, Jesus Christ, in His word, how He went through. He went through much more than we ever did in our lives. I had a humble, my spirit was broken, and I learned about humbleness after that and giving praise and glory to God Almighty. And that's right now today. That's right. That's where I'm at with it. If you're not humble before Him, I got news for you. It's going to be bad news. I talked about humble before. I talked about not being bullied before. If you're not humble in professional wrestling, if you got the big head, guess what? God's going to deal with you one way or another.
Right. Now, talk to me about, has there been any matches or angles or rivalries that you've had that in retrospect you wish had been handled differently?
Not really. I had one match a long time ago in Tampa that turned out to be a little disaster. But the good news about it is it got handled for the positive instead of the negative.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I won't get into details about it. But the thing about it is, like I said, if you retaliate against the negative, what's going to happen? Nothing good's going to come out of it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's
and
true.
Boris Malenko always tell me, if you ever got in a situation, keep your mouth shut and listen.
Right.
There are guys in this business who will back you up 100%. I've had that happen a long time too.
Right. Now, you just mentioned a name that I was about to bring up, which is Boris Malenko, right? Who you were trained by the great Malenko. Talk to me about your relationship with him. Talk to me why, and it's just not you. Every single individual I've spoken to that was trained by the great Malenko has always talked about just what an incredible man he was.
Boris Malenko is one special guy, brother. I call him the dad of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I got to a situation after a show, Boris sometimes finds out about it without even me knowing about it. And Boris is the dad of professional wrestling. Dean and Jody are like my brothers. Also, we're all family. Dean and Joe taught me a lot of things too. You got Dean and Joe, you got Boris, you got one of his referees at the time, Mr. Frank Reyes.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy himself. They all counseled me along the way as to how to handle things. And one thing that Boris always mentioned, do not assume nothing. If you have any questions, ask. We'll give you an answer. And he's right.
And you brought up Joe or Jody. I had Joe on my podcast a few weeks ago. I had man, I love that guy. What an incredible guy. I hope I can eventually have Dean on because I told Joe this, and I meant this with all sincerity, and it's no disrespect to the Hart family because the Hart family is one of the greatest families in professional wrestling, but a family for myself, in my opinion, that's not giving enough credit or flowers in the business is the Malenko family, because you want to talk about another great, strong professional wrestling family, is absolutely the Malenkos, man. They are so incredible. Dean and Joe Malenko, I would absolutely put them in the same conversations as far as the greatest technical wrestlers of your Bret Harts, because they are truly just amazing technical wrestlers. They really are.
It's whether it's Malenkos, it could be the Hart family, Stu Hart, it could be Larry Henning out of Minnesota, or even the Fritz Von Erich family. They all are great, great professional trainers.
Right. Now, I want when I think about our friendship and some of our conversations, whenever you can catch me to talk to the phone, something that always brings a smile on my face was the day that you called me and you're like, man, you're out on a tour, you're out to go to a show, and you pulled in somewhere to stay, and they're all naked. You're like, these people are all naked. Tell the fans that story, because it cracks me up. It really does.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I want you to tell the fans, you remember that phone call where you called me and said, man, I went to stay at this park.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all naked.
Well, this is what really made me really upset. I got called to do a match one time, but I think it was last summer, somewhere in the spring or summer. And we pulled up and went to check to see where we're supposed to go. This one cart comes driving down. This one guy hops out, butt naked. I'm not kidding. It's like, what? And before you know it, we're going to get to the dressing room. And that show, wow. There's a lot of naked people running around. No, it's no joke. I thought, I am not going to do this type of show again. That's not professional. I don't take that very lightly. You know. But
now, weren't you near a nudist colony or something like that? Is what the issue was?
yes, apparently that was a nudist colony, and I didn't even know it. Had I known it, I would never accept the booking. I'll be honest with you.
Look, I don't laugh at the pain that you went through. I laugh about the phone call that I got at the time. Like, you were just so.
You know, I laugh about it now, but and back then, it's not good for the kids.
Right.
Half the people were drunk, you know, on
Right.
marijuana, doing drugs. You can see it. That's not my way of doing wrestling. If I have a match, I have a match. That's simple.
Right. Now, as good as you are, there is one thing that you, me, or anyone else cannot beat, and that's Father Time. We're all getting up there in age, but at what point are you going to say, enough, I don't want to be in the ring anymore? Is there a certain match rating to have? Or, you know, I mean, do you have a plan, you know, as far as, you know, that's when you know that, you know, it's time to retire?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I'm 56 years old.
And you look by the way, you look damn good.
Thank you. I will keep going until the good Lord above instructs me not to do it anymore. Yes, there's going to be a time where I'll retire. We all retire. And, you know, people are like, well, you're too slow. You're a grandpa. You can't even last 3 minutes in the ring. I don't give a damn what people say about me negatively. That doesn't concern me. I will continue doing what I'm known to do, whether they like it or not. I try to do the best I can. If they can't accept that, that's not my problem.
Right.
I represent professional wrestling in these promotions in a way that is meaningful for the fans.
Right.
And yes, there are some matches where I'd like to be in, and I got one in mind that I can think of the back of my mind for a long time. And I tried to negotiate with promoters about this. No bite. You know who I would like to wrestle one more time?
Who's that?
The Cuban Assassin.
That'd be a great match.
Cuba versus USA. And I'm going to put it to you this way. I respect the Cuban Assassin as a great wrestler. He's very talented. He's been around for a long time. He's got my full respect. Here's the thing. The cheating. I will stop the cheating right then and there real quick. And if anybody would sign that match between me and the Cuban Assassin, I will give him my best shot and take it from there.
You know what? I think that'd be a great match for Twisted Wrestling Alliance, TWA, to sign.
Well,
to be honest with you.
I don't know what the deal is, but I'll tell you what, I'm still here. There's hardly any more giants on the independent scene.
Right. Now that leads to a question. You know, that you know, me and you know, a lot of people have had. I know my co-host has even kind of, you know, had this question.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like promotions, for whatever reason, they don't know how to book big guys, especially giants.
I agree.
What do you think the struggle is with that?
There's two things I can come up with. One, they don't know how to wrestle a big guy. They've never been trained how to wrestle a big guy. Or two, they feel intimidated. And three, I came up with a third one, they have their own cliques.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like cliques. If you have cliques in your organization, you're not giving fair shot to other people who's trying to make names for themselves in the right way.
Right. Yeah.
And when I started way back, I was booked in Florida just like this all the time. What happens now?
Right. Right. Now we'll talk about fans for a moment. Wrestling fans often connect with a wrestler's story as much as their in-ring work. How do you approach the way you tell a story through your persona? Do you have that special way that you figured out through the years that fans connect with better than others?
That's hard to say. Really. It's really hard to say. One set of fans made like one way, set of fans made like another. To me personally, if I was to sit back and watch it as a fan standpoint, I love watching different talent.
Mm-hmm.
The Samoans are great. The Mighty Midgets are great wrestlers in their own special way. They're talented in different areas. Don't mock somebody just because they can't do it just because they're big or short. I have a problem with people discriminate in professional wrestling. I got a big problem with it because if I ever hear it, I promise you, I will take them back to the locker room myself, one-on-one, have a conversation, and say, you better get your head out of your butt. Otherwise, you're going to deal with one angry giant. That's happened before, too.
Right. Has there been a time in your career that you attempted to dramatically change your character or your image as the American Giant? Because look, walking around and having that name, the American Giant, I feel like there's a certain responsibility or image that you have to be able to portray, right? Has there been times that you've been like, you know what, man, screw this. I'm going to change who the American Giant is?
There are times I thought about that, yes, quite frankly. There's a lot of times.
Right.
I can go in there being upset about something, take it out on my opponent. And as a matter of fact, there was one that I did take it out on my opponent on. And I grabbed the microphone this night and I told them, you guys think that you represent the United States the way you want to? You don't represent the United States in the right way like the American Giant does. And this is where I get the heat. And that's great because, number one, I'm still an American carrying that flag. What do they carry? A lot of people who are doing negative in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that, man. Stand for righteousness the best you can.
Right. Professional wrestling has changed
big
within
time
the years so much. When you first started out in the business, it was before social media, right?
Right.
How, and it does seem, and I'm not saying that this is true, I'm saying it seems like social media, the internet wrestling community, they're kind of dictating how in the direction professional wrestling has gone. I'm not saying that that's actually true. I'm saying what it seems like. Do you agree with that? Does it seem like a lot of the bookers and promoters are kind of trying to please the internet wrestling community more so than other fans?
I would somewhat agree with that, yes. And I'm going to tell you why. They don't even know how to utilize their talent a lot of times. You can see that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I mean. And I said this before, they try to go in there and make a 130-pound guy who is sick on heads win a world heavyweight title. He has no business being a heavyweight champion because, number one, he's a lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing about it is, bring back the Giants and bring back big guys to tell a story. If you don't do that, the fans are not going to come back.
Right.
It's that simple.
What is the one thing fans would really be shocked to know about you if you pull the curtain back a little bit for someone to peek in?
Well, they probably give me more heat because I can do the same thing. I can go out there beat somebody up even though it's their fan favorite.
Right.
And if they don't do it right, I'm the type of guy who will go in there and set the example the way I was taught.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a heel American Giant right now. As someone again that knows you, I know your character. I know how much of a good man that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, because of the fact that you are such a good guy, do you struggle with trying to get yourself over as a heel because that's just not naturally who you are? Because some of the best heels in the world of professional wrestling are guys who are frankly assholes, right?
Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends. It depends where the matches are.
Right.
I could turn into a real okay, I'm gonna say this minorly. I could become a real pain in the ass by grabbing a microphone and down talking to fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that several times myself. And this is what I'm talking about. I can wrestle aggressively as a big guy, of course, like just like the great late Mr. Perfect. You know how he go on the baby and wrestle aggressively and back to heels aggressive? I'm the same way, except I wrestle as a big man.
Right.
I've given so many chops in the corner, so many chops in the chest. They wore my handprints for a month and a half. That's true. True story.
Right.
And, my theory is sell the story, take care of it the right way, and the fans will come back.
Yeah.
What's in the next chapter? You never know.
Right. Is there a particular wrestler right now who is part of the new generation that you really like, that you think that their career is going to absolutely just take off?
A wrestler in my generation or the new one?
The new generation.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of them. A lot of them gone in the right direction. I will say, probably, what's his name? Randy Orton, maybe.
No, he's talking about Braun Breaker.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys I don't know today. The new talent. I can see their faces, but the new ones I can't.
Right.
So,
yeah. Now, when it comes to being a mentor, what is the biggest lesson you try to pass on to younger talent?
I'm sorry.
What is it? When it comes to being a mentor to the younger talent, what is the number one lesson that you try to pass on to these younger guys?
Well, number one, to stay in shape, go to the gym and train hard. Stay away from the drugs and all that, because that will get you in trouble quick.
Right. If you were not a professional wrestler, which I cannot imagine you being anything else besides a professional wrestler, but if you were not a professional wrestler, what would Buck Brezner be doing right now, you think?
If I was not a professional wrestler?
Yeah.
Well, definitely lead by example in the correctional facility and try to become a I'm going to be honest with you. Try to become a gospel singer in church somewhere. Sing in church services. I used to do that when I was back in Florida.
Right.
And things change along the way. They got new bands coming in and everything else. Sing praise and worship. That's what I do. I did back then. Here, as of late, I've been between the working in my main job and the wrestling.
Right. Now, professional wrestling demands a lot of time. Working within law enforcement does too. And on top of it, You have a beautiful fiance who stands by your side. How are you able to balance, right, your time in your life with all these different things that demands a lot of time?
Well, that's by God's direction.
Mhm.
Number one, when it comes to work, it's work. Number two, when it comes to wrestling, it's wrestling. And number three, when it comes to home life, it's home life. You can't do this all by yourself, because if you try to do it on your own, you're going to fail.
Right,
Pray about it, give it in God's hands, and let Him lead you.
right.
That's simple.
Talk to me about some of the things you have been doing as far as who have you been wrestling since you've been on the podcast.
Well, I've been taking the month off of. I took the month off of December. I had a couple of minor surgeries done on my nose, on my membrane, which I'm feeling much better now.
Good.
And basically, I've been working in my former job, working in group homes, with clients with medical issues and behavioral issues, and doing a lot of Comic-Cons. I just had one Comic-Con not too long ago with Tommy Rich and Tony Atlas in Lebanon, Tennessee. That was a great time. We all had a great time and talking to the fans, whoever.
Right.
And it's like, it's a blessing. It really is. Tony and I were sitting there and, talking during the time. And he told me, he said, well, he made a joke at me one time. He goes, before you go meet Lou Ferrigno, I'm going to meet him first, you big dummy. It's true. And before you know it, I was like cracking up. I'm like, okay. Then I was told that Lou wanted to meet me. Lou found out who I was through social media. And I tell everybody else, you never know who's going to be watching out there.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Take it day by day, and whatever comes to pass is because it's not because of me, it's because of what God will allow to happen.
Right.
That's that simple.
Yeah. Mr. Herb Simmons, who we were talking about earlier, he says, good evening to you both. Herb, as I always say, it's always a pleasure when I know you're watching the podcast. I truly
good evening, sir.
Is there one particular match that you've had in your career that you feel like didn't get the attention it deserved?
Well, not really. I mean, a lot of the matches standed out very nicely. It standed out because of my height, for one, and two, it really popped. I'll put it that way. It popped. There's sometimes it went good, and sometimes it went bad. Given, but overall, I've had a lot of great matches throughout the years.
Let's talk about fan interaction. What do you have a standout memory or a story from an interaction that you had with a fan, just because of just how moving or touching that interaction was?
As a matter of fact, I do. I started off as a heel in Tampa. I had a friend of mine who was a police officer. Comes up to me and says, you know what? We heard you were being a pain in the ass. We're going to boo the hell out of you. I said, go right ahead. I don't give a flip. I'm going to do what I have to do to win a match tonight, whether you like it or not. Then, a little while later, my match came up. I took off my sunglasses. I gave him a very nasty look. I grabbed the microphone. Now, this is in Tampa, Florida now. I said, do you know what the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office have in common? You damn cops don't know how to walk, chew gum, and make an arrest at the same time. If you need to be retrained, go see my good friend, the Big Boss Man. Dropped the microphone right on the mat. Everybody was booing the hell out of me like the WWE. I will say back then, the WWF.
Right.
And this one little girl was standing at ringside. I told her, you better sit down next to your parents and learn manners, young lady, before I come down there and take care of you. A little while later, at the end of the night, I came out. That little girl's dad came up to me and says, Saskia, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure. How can I help you? My little girl cried because of what you said to her. I says, okay. Can I, with your permission, may I speak to her in front of you and your wife? He says, absolutely. I went up to her. At first, she was a little hesitant. I hugged her. I said, young lady, what we doing in there, we just do our job. If I made you cry, I thoroughly apologize. I didn't mean to do that to you. She stopped crying. She turns around, and I went back by the name of Sasquatch back then, the 7-foot Sasquatch. She looked at me. She said, Sasquatch, I love you. Can I get a picture with you? Absolutely. Took the picture. Then that's when it's fired up. I made a fan that night.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to go back. You were talking about you and Tony Atlas. Man, talk to me about Tony Atlas. What kind of man is Tony Atlas? And of course, I'm talking about Tony Atlas, a human being, not Tony Atlas, Mr. USA, the professional wrestler.
Oh, he is a great, great guy. Fantastic guy. When we started talking for several, the couple of days that we were there, we hit it right off. Tony is a great guy. He taught me a lot of things. We talked about the old WWF days when he was up there. He taught me a lot of things. And this is funny. The next morning, he comes downstairs off the elevator to the cafeteria. He goes, you know what? He goes, I got to call the National Food Association on you, 7-foot American giant, because you ate my eggs and my burgers. I'm like, I didn't eat the whole thing. He goes, you're a monster. I cracked up so hard it wasn't even funny. But we were talking for a little bit, and he remembered me when I was a little kid back home in Syracuse. And I didn't think he would remember me at that time. Apparently, he said he did. I was real thin. That's when him and Rocky Johnson were the first American African Tag Team Champions. And Tony, he is such a sweet man. It's not even funny. Great guy.
Right. Mr. Herb Simmons says, great stories, Buck. You need to write a book, which leads me to my question. Why is there no book out?
I never thought about reading a book, but now you mentioned it, I think I will write it.
Yeah, you should. Kurt Walzer wants to know, Buck, did Tony sing for you?
No, he didn't. But I'll tell you what, I heard him sing The Tugboat. Yeah, and I'll give this one to Tony. He sang, you remember that song, You Gave Me a Mountain, Elvis Presley sang? Well, Tony, if you're listening tonight, here you go. You gave me a mountain this time. And that's great. I loved it. That's all. If he heard that, that's back to him. I guess he's an Elvis fan or something. I have no idea what he is or not. But in reality, Tony told me, if I ever get booked up in Maine or that area, he wants to tag up with me a couple of times. I said that's fine. That's it. If anybody likes to promote that, I'm glad to become your tag team partner. Don't matter to me.
Right.
That's fine.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Now you talked earlier. You talked earlier that if you wasn't wrestling, one of the things you would like to be doing, singing gospel music.
Right.
Now, that's something I didn't even know that you could do, was sing. Real quick, but there's like a shadow where we can't see your face.
Hold on a minute.
Yep. This is live, guys. You never know when you're going to have technical difficulties. But while we're waiting for Buck, guys, again, remember, there's going to be FanFest 4 again. I'm going to be posting the details on my Facebook page about FanFest 4, where you can get the tickets. I highly suggest that you guys, let's see. Hey, Buck.
I'll try to get back on you.
Yep. 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 But I'm going to be posting on my page, guys, where you can get tickets and all the information about FanFest 4. I highly suggest you guys go. I was there last year. I'll be there again this year. Let's see. Nope, still lost there, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know what happened, brother. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. But let me finish this up real quick. So FanFest 4 is May 8th through the 9th in the St. Louis area, featuring Big Foley and Bruiser Brody tributes and the Final Fantasy Fan Festival 2026 North American. Blah, blah, blah. Again, guys, I'm going to be posting all of these details about FanFest 4 on my Facebook page. But I just heard that at Abby's birthday party, you saying happy birthday. Talk to me about what it was like to be able to do that for Abdullah the Butcher, and as well as sing me a song, man, because I've never really heard you sing before.
Well, I didn't sing to Abby. I sent a message to him wishing him a happy birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it was Abby's birthday, and Tony was up there, Herb was up there as well, I understand. And I posted on timeline that happy birthday to Abdul the Butcher. And, you know, much love. But yeah.
Now, were you able to attend his birthday party?
No, I wasn't able to.
Okay. I was just curious about that. Before we close out, I want to do something that's be a little fun. I call it the rapid fire. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I want you to answer it as quick as you can. First thing comes to your mind. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Favorite wrestler growing up?
Superfly Snicker.
Favorite match you've watched outside your own career?
Say that again.
Your favorite match outside your own career?
I have no idea. That's a good
one. If you could wrestle, and I know you kind of answered that with Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, Hulk Hogan, but there has to be, just that number one guy in your life that if you could wrestle anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
I would say Andre.
Andre. Most ridiculous thing that has ever happened to you backstage?
Being stretched by the Iron Sheik.
Wait. You got to stop for a second. You've got to tell me that story.
You like that, huh? Okay, I'll tell you this story. Before I broke into the business, we went to a WWF house show one night. We all came to this one restaurant. And me, the Nasty Boys, the Undertaker, and the Iron Sheik went into this restaurant. The Iron Sheik was sitting on my right. The Undertaker was sitting on my left. And the Nasty Boys were sitting in front of me. Undertaker comes up to me privately and goes, "Hey, Buck, come here. I want you to go over to the Iron Sheik and tell him you got to stretch him from here back to Iron Man, see what he says." I said, "I'm not going to do that. That's being disrespectful. Are you kidding me?" He goes, "No, he'll rub the rib." He's in there eating chicken noodle soup. I go, "Sheik and baby." He goes, "Yes, Doug." He goes, "Yes, sir. I'm going to stretch you from here back to Iranian pig." He drops his fork, looks at me, puts me in a headlock. He said, "Now you sit there, you behave yourself." Who told you to tell me that? I know it didn't come from you, the Undertaker. I did not tell you to tell him that. I told you to get stretched if you tell him that. Nasty Boy now sent me across the head, and now Jerry Sachs looks at me and he goes, "How dare you say that to the street?" I go, later on that night, we went back to the hotel, got the guys off. There's one little kid gets on top of the dresser. No joke. He jumps off like Superfly Snuka on top of me. I sit on top of the Undertaker's head. And he said, I got to wear this. He goes, I go, yeah, he's got to wear it to the ring the next day. I popped it back out. I shot it back out. I said, that's what you get for getting me in trouble with the Iron Sheik. That was a fun night that night. I'll never forget it.
Now, talk to me about your relationship with Mark Calloway, as we all know as the Undertaker. What type of a man is he in your opinion? And do you have any stories about you and him, but besides this one that you just told?
I really don't know the Undertaker, Mark Calloway, that well. He was very nice to me anytime we came to town. And one point, I told him I was not ready to bring into the business. And he like, well, who's going to train you? I said, Boris Malenko. I'm going down within a month and a half. He goes, brother, why don't you go see Brad Rings? I said, I heard about Brad Rings. He's like the stretches guys that they like to behave themselves. But Mark, to me, was a very nice guy. He anytime he needed a ride to the hotel after, drop them off, have dinner once in a while. But he was very nice to me.
Yeah. He has such a great character. And I'm not going to get into politics. I don't talk politics on here, but I will say this tiny bit. There's been a lot about Mick Foley in the news regarding his political beliefs and WWE. The Undertaker was asked about it, and you want to talk about a good guy. He didn't say, "Oh, screw Mick Foley." He didn't say, "I would never talk to the guy again." What he said is, you know what? I love the guy still. What he believes. If I see him, I'm still going to hug the man. It's a shame that just can't be everybody's disposition when it comes to so many different things. And I got the information about FanFest 4 that I started to talk about. So guys, this is the information. You're invited to attend SICW FanFest 4, scheduled for May 8th and 9th at the Radisson Hotel and Conference Center in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Tickets and hotel reservation can be arranged through www.sicw.org. The site also offers vendor registration options for participating organizations or businesses. More legends to be announced. And like the American Giant has said, JBL, Mickey James himself, and so many more will be there. I highly suggest everybody buy tickets to this. Do so now. It's going to sell out fast. Last question for you. With the rapid questions I was asking you, what's your go-to pre-match ritual? Is there something that you do every single time before your match?
Yes, I do. I pray before the match. I pray for safety. I pray for the match to go well. Nobody gets seriously hurt. And we protect one another the way it's supposed to be. If it's not done, if you're going out there to go and hurt the guy, guess what? That doesn't work with me.
Right.
But pray before the match is my number one thing.
Thank you for coming on again, man. Look, I mean it's about my heart. You're such a great friend. I love you. I can't wait to see you in a few months. Don't forget, you got a choke slam coming through one of those tables, buddy. It's going to happen.
Well, there's only one more thing I want to mention. If that's okay, Kevin. Let's put this way, my friend. Just like Kevin was mentioned earlier, FanFest 4, May 8th and 9th at the Radisson Hotel. Come on out, brothers. Come see all the legends. Come see the American Giant, because you never know what's going to happen that day and night. And believe me, we're going to share stories. If you need a choke slam, come to me personally, brother. I'll be glad to do the choke slam for you.
There you go, guys. Buck, again, thank you so much, man. Much love to you guys. I will be back with my co-host, Robbie Ido, tomorrow to talk about Monday Night Raw. Did we hate it? Did we love it? Did we just think it was okay? Join us. Be part of the conversation. Ask questions. We'll get to them. Until then, you all have a great night. Buck, we'll be talking soon, brother.
Yes, sir, my friend. Looking forward to it.
Have a good one.
Yeah.